It's the pop-up show.
It's a pop-up show.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop, pop show.
It's the pop-up show.
Something's happening, something going on.
CTNL back live to get it on.
7 months a month, don't need a coupon.
We worldwide, the flag's waving strong.
Surprising your patient with breaking news.
Bring a whole lot of truth, no pay-per-views.
Could be called Shane or DDB.
Just another branch on this family tree.
The tape never lies like a boy JC.
No narratives allow how we rock the beat.
Breaking news on time, now we ain't no bullets.
Jealous networks make us out to be villains.
Unbreakable truths like a man Bruce Willis.
We stand tall in the city like the Willis.
Tower, over the competition we devour.
Grants every time like the slide will bears hour.
Others fall asleep when the apple is bit. We're taking out the frauds who here to Great Britain. You can't run that eye, brother, who are you shin? Patrons of the truth, this network spin.
Old man reporting live from the dungeons. We keep it real, we chopping onions. Bears Nation on the rise, be on the coverage. Hot off the press, hot fresh out the oven. It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
The pop-up.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
What?
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
TTNL.
Hey, who's that guy? That's our wide receiver.
Hey.
What the fuck, guys? I don't think, man, shit got crazy there for a little while, and we were like, is this going to go down this weekend? Cars tried to call a shot, and he's like, I don't see DJmoore happening, but I do want DJmoore. It happened.
I'm amazed. Like, you would think a team that's like, I'm trading up for a quarterback would want to make sure they give him weapons.
Right. No, I get it. But, you know, if the way that I turn it around is if we needed the quarterback, Darnell Mooney's not going to prevent us from getting him. That's, you know, I think that's the way that you have to look at it.
DJmoore has been.
I get it. I get it.
You look at a quarterback that's difficult to analyze, as we've talked about, and every quarterback that has taken that next step has gotten that number one wide receiver to go along with it. And this is the move that you guys talked about this first I ever heard back in December when we saw we're gonna tank, if you will. And then we started putting it together. I mean, I still remember you, Shane, after Christmas saying, would you take DJmoore and go down to 9? And it all goes back to great investigation work by you guys.
Just real quick, Phil, before I know, because everything is coming in here fast. The Bears blog, give him his credit here. He's saying what he was told.
Said there was no players. He said there was no, so he was just guessing.
Right. Well, what he was told was originally Carolina was trying to push their 2025 first rounder to Chicago, but Ryan Poles drew a line in the sand and said, I want a second in DJmoore. That was which I understand because Carolina is they have
the worst division in football too.
Yep.
Let's not be real.
This is a great trade for Justin and the Bears, but also to protect yourself, as we talked about. Are you betting on Carolina and how they finish? Because it just makes this trade value go up when people say, well, they didn't get 3. No, they got
you got a top 10 pick next year. You got a top 10. You probably got a top 5 pick next year that has an outside shot of being number 1 overall so that you can do this again for Caleb Williams. But to pull back to Shane's point, you know, when you look at this, my biggest complaint, and it's a minuscule complaint, is that the second round pick is the 49er pick and not the Panthers pick.
Yeah. So
when you look at this, where is DJ Moore traditionally lining up? The slot. Where was their worst spot last year? The slot. You now are going to go Mooney, Moore, Claypool in their ideal positions outside slot with a tight end coming in. And a guy who, let's not forget, last year he was catching passes from Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, and he just put up 63 for 888 and 7.
He was catching passes from Bratcher and Claudio, essentially.
The 3 seasons prior, he was 1,000-yard receiver. He was an 1,100-yard receiver. This is like when you talk about getting your guys at a 1, this is one of those guys who's like a 1B, right? He's not a true number 1, but you weren't going to find this guy. This is a type of player that you hold Smith and Jigba turns into.
Yeah, 25 right? years old. I mean, does
25.
Yes. Exactly. For 1 sec, I want to give you guys credit, or Shane credit, for finding the Josh McCown pre-hire video.
Oh yeah, I didn't find they talked about it. I mean, it's not that something that I stumbled upon. They talked about it and it was out there, but it's huge. But who knows?
Well, they want their guy. Before everybody goes, we fleeced. The Bears did what they should do.
You haven't fleeced anything yet. Now the hard part comes. Hard part comes, and I mean it's
exactly.
They may not be done trading back, guys. I think that this is the thing that we have to talk about. They may not be done yet.
You're saying they're not?
They're done until draft day.
Okay, yeah, totally.
Yes.
Totally that.
But when you again, and I Shane in the vaunted text chain, we kind of talk like if this happens, my expectation right now is going to be Stroud 1, Young 2, Richardson in a trade up 3, and Levis 4.
Yeah,
that is a very
first time in NFL history that's been done.
And I have a feeling that that's the way that this is going. And so when you sit there at 9, I think you understand that Will Anderson is not going to be there. I think Jalen Carter is probably out due to character, depending on how everything falls. So there isn't. Cole said that he thought there's 7 guys worthy. Sitting at 9, you're outside of that window. That's why he was with DJ Moore. So now I feel like there's another move coming.
Here's what I wanted to make a point about. Before we get to DJ Moore, I got a lot to say about him. But if you remember what you were saying, polls saying there's 8 guys here that are considered blue chippers. I can identify guys that can come in right away and start, and I believe are going to be great. So right now you're in that bracket based on what you just said, because the Bears did their due diligence on the quarterbacks and decided the value, just like we said. This is the move you got to make, but you got that first-round pick next year, a top 10 first-round pick, as you said. This is the gamble that you have. Now you're at 9. Now if they take 4 quarterbacks, now that pushes blue chippers down to 9. The math creates a display of how you analyze your draft board here. So this is a huge hell yeah moment for Ryan Poles, getting the offer and getting it done before free agency cars.
Massive. I mean, and when you look at it, there's only 3 years, but $50 million left on DJ Moore's contract. So you're getting a number 1 at roughly 16 and a half-ish $1 million. That's a massive win. We were talking, I'm a big Jacoby Myers fan. And the way that free agency was looking was that Jacoby Myers was going to get 14 to 16 million a season.
Yeah, and that's
a massive.
I like the wide receiver, but when you're talking those numbers,
so we get him at now. Our cap space for free agency is down just shy of 20 million. So now we're down to $78 million in cap space to play around with.
Listen, we're going to be totally breaking down DJmoore on our patron channel. Obviously, the new Chicago Bear.
We may have to
DJ
push
Moore.
back Draft Mob.
We might have
change that up.
Start cutting up the DJmoore tape tonight to get it ready for.
Oh God!
I guess we'll go Sunday. I need time to cut this up.
I told my son about the trade, and he ran right upstairs to adjust his Madden roster.
When you guys, 11 people texted me at the same time. Even former Jose Cotto was the first one in the gate with the DJmoore news because you guys sent me no players.
That was the initial one
all
was
first round picks. I'm like, I didn't like that. I want a player. I want Burns or more because you had predicted in the text you were thinking Derek Brown. I was like,
that was my he was a player I hoped that they had included because he would take your 3 tech. But if you look, I'm sorry, I just want to do this real quick because it's kind of crazy. So DJmoore prior to this last season was a 3-time 1,100-yard receiver. Yep. His quarterbacks have been Kyle Allen, Cam Newton, Will Grier, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker. Like, do you think how excited he's got to be right now to be like, I'm going to catch passes from by far the best quarterback I have ever caught passes from? This is
this just in from Field Bears. This just in from Field Yates. Bears GM Ryan Poles just turned the #1 pick in the draft during a year in which he didn't need a quarterback into 2 first-round draft picks, 2 second-round draft picks, and a legit 1 wide receiver in DJmoore to help flesh out this offense. What a move!
I mean,
I'm right there with it. The number 1 wide receiver is huge, guys. To your point, Jacoby Meyer contract, big overpay. You're gonna have to overpay.
Oh yeah,
free agency. So big contract. Is he going to be a number 1? He isn't a number 1, in my opinion, Jacoby. But he's somebody I like as a receiver, good player. But this is what the Bears have had: good players. You got a good player in Marty Booker. You got a good player in Marty Booker, right? We can go down. Allen, now on the street. He's a good player. Allen Robinson. Was he a true number 1?
Courtney
now
Cronin
I'm telling you, DJmoore.
Courtney Cronin is complaining about the massive gap between our first and second round picks at this. I mean, come on.
Well,
I understand wanting to get the earlier one back, but I mean, overall,
that's what Cars wanted.
Right, but
Cars wanted it too.
Would you rather have a 25 first rounder?
No.
Or would you rather have the second rounder in DJmoore?
Listen, I think we've all kind of agreed once you get.
She's talking about the second round pick this year,
which is 61 to 39.
But we have 59 already, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna have
so we'll be right there back to back, and there could be another trade. To your point, I don't think they will. I think they'll identify a blue chip player there, and I drafted him the other day.
I would be. So I don't think it's necessarily locked in either way, but I think when you look at this draft value and where it is and where the players are, it's.
So look at this, Cars, right there, because you were talking 15 to 70 is where the meat on the bone of this draft is. The Bears now have 53, 61, and 63. In a team that's trying to find amazing talent that you can line up and be consistent. And again, I don't think
we only have
2 second rounders.
We have 2 second rounders, not a third.
Yeah.
So we have 50. It's 53.
I thought that one was a third. I thought that was the third pick.
The third pick would be 70.
Oh, okay.
Or no, 64. So it'll be like 67, 68.
So no, this is wrong then.
This is again, like this is perfect
Internet dude doesn't think he's a number one receiver.
If you
I don't know
go
what sign up, become a patron, and I'll prove that it's number one. Because I'm telling you, I don't blow smoke and shit with you. All I know is Shane, via their text thread, said to me back in December, would you trade? Well, how about this? Because I was like, you got to look at Will Anderson. Just fucking take Will Anderson. He was my number one player. He's like, but how about this? You trade down with Carolina. They give you first round pick here, next year, the year after that, and DJmoore. And I'm like, oh, I have to think. That's something I have to think about. And here we are on the precipice of that. So,
and it's with that. The only reason you would think that is because Carolina's offenses have been so bad. They've been so bad because of the quarterback play. And DJmoore has been someone that has been held back by that play. And that shows up in his touchdown numbers, right? His touchdown numbers have been 4 something and 7, right? And so when you look at that overall, that doesn't look great. But then you look at that team, they have not thrown for 20 touchdowns in more than 5 years. So it's more of a product of it. And there's a reason, when he got signed, that he got signed to that deal, because he's such a good player. And again, at 25, it's
25 years old. And I want to say this because I already am going to hear it. Blog boy, shut the fuck up and don't take this time to take a shot at Justin Fields. The whole point of getting a number one is to help showcase that Justin Fields. Now you go into free agency and you pay the motherfucking left tackle and protect him. And you go out there and you spend the money on the offensive line. So DJmoore, Claypool, Darnell Mooney, and the tight end Kincaid that you draft in the draft, and Cole Kmet become a freaking stellar offense. And all of a sudden, you're on the precipice of competing for a wild card or the division with Aaron Rodgers. This is how you fucking play football. You don't sit there.
You're practically guaranteed Jones or Johnson at 9, the way that this is structured.
Georgia, my guy.
Yeah.
You have to put Van Ness in there, obviously. I know a lot of fans are going to be like, are we still going to take JSN?
No.
Van Ness would be...
No, it's done. I totally agree. And I couldn't have taken him there. I know people disagree with it. I couldn't have taken him up there, JSN. That just what...
Oh, my God. Smith this takes that whole bullshit out there. There's not a receiver. But that shows
you... Yeah, this is why you do it.
That tells me that I was right with my eyes.
There isn't a receiver in this draft.
Exactly. We got to get the number one receiver. It ain't JSN. It's probably Zay Flowers, but he's 25, 28 in the round.
Yeah.
No receiver is going top 10. And you did the right thing. For those saying you should have got another first, I'm 100% with you, Shane. I'd much rather, instead of the 25 first, I got the 24 first. That's to protect my ass. I also got a first receiver, a number one receiver.
Well,
over the first round, you gave me a second.
Let's be honest.
Would you trade a first round pick for DJmoore? Like we traded a second round pick for Claypool. DJmoore is in an elite level talent. I mean, he's up there for me. Come on.
Oh,
this is how you do it. This is a great move. Go ahead.
No, Shane, go. Because I've been trying to. I've been interrupting.
No, I'm. Go ahead, man. Because I'm literally, my phone is melting. It has not stopped shaking.
No,
but I can play this if you want to hear this. This is instant reaction from Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network on the trade. He's in the middle of a car wash when in his car while this news breaks.
This is I agree with Alberto.
All right, just getting the news on this trade. I thought it made sense. I thought the Panthers would be the most motivated team to do this. I love it. I love it for the Bears. I think it's a smart move. Go back, get an offensive lineman, get some more offensive help, get a bunch of future picks. Yes, I'm in the car wash. And a new team has the first overall pick. Let's go.
And they're going CJ Stroud now.
So it's
with Josh McCown called him the next Joe Burrow. So I think he's going to be fighting for CJ
Houston
Stroud.
Wins this too because they wanted Bryce Young, right? So now they get to stay too and do that. But it sets the table for this crazy run now of QBs. So someone good in the trenches is going to be there at 9.
The Carolina Panthers have been searching for the last several years for their franchise quarterback.
Ian Rappaport, NFL Network.
The first opportunity in the draft to take one. Sources say the Carolina Panthers are moving all the way from number 9 to the number 1 overall selection, trading with the Chicago Bears for the right to draft any quarterback they want. Could it be Bryce Young from Alabama? Could it be CJ Stroud from Ohio State? Those two would be the top from most evaluators. Obviously, Bryce Young, I would say the number 1 overall selection in the eyes of most general managers, but Carolina has plenty of time to make that decision. The most important thing now, they are now on the clock. And for the Carolina Panthers, this did not come cheap. Here is my understanding of the price. The Carolina Panthers are giving the Chicago Bears the number 9 pick. It is a second rounder this year, a first rounder in 2024, a second rounder in 2025, and DJmoore, a top receiver who, of course, has already been paid. So Chicago adds a massive, massive draft haul and a top receiver. Yeah. Meanwhile,
you got the top receiver. Listen, free agency. Is anybody better than DJmoore?
No, but this is
why on the open market. Is he getting he's getting paid?
Phil, it's
right.
It's the same thing, and I know. And listen, this will piss people off.
TTNL
also,
our producer making ground.
This is precisely this Chase Claypool trade is not done. Guys,
we do have 53, 61, and then 64. They're very packed in that meter car. 7.
Right. Yeah. But this Chase Claypool, and I know everybody's down on him, and he got hurt. We got to give him an off season here to see what happens. And just in terms of Phil, the way that this is constructed before we even get to the draft, when you look at 1, 2, 3, you look at DJmoore, Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool. That's an interesting mix. Yes, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to do, but we're seeing body structure type that we don't normally see from Chicago Bears wide receivers. Now, all of a sudden,
this is a guy that could play inside and outside. Great hands, great run after the catch. He's a dog. Was always looking for dogs. You add him with Mooney, who I also believe is a dog and who plays hard every play, blocking. DJmoore is going to give you that ability to run route. He's a great actor at the stem of the route. I'm going to be breaking down his tape. Sign up, become a patron on Sunday. We'll be taking a big look at DJmoore with our new telestrator and everything. Cars, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, my kids were screaming, so I had to make sure. He ran 4.4 too. You got to remember that in the combine. So he is shifty. He's explosive. He's put up, again, it takes a lot for a guy to go 3 years in a row, 1,100 plus yards with the quarterbacks we named. This is a guy who's done it consistently in bad offenses, being the guy, being the focus of the offense. He didn't miss a beat when they traded Robbie Anderson, right? So everything has gone through DJ. And so for us to get that at this point, everybody talked about Smith and Jigba's, 3 cone and all of that. if you go back and look, DJ Moore's, if I remember, is awfully close to what his is. This is an elite guy who's done it. You don't have to. This isn't like, this isn't Family Guy. And for everybody who's never seen it, there's an episode of Family Guy where he could either win a boat or what's in the box. And the Family Guy says, I love the box. The box could be anything. It could be a boat. And so you would draft Jackson hoping that he became DJ Moore. Now we just go get DJ Moore. This is
the
wonderful.
Khalil Mack thing over again. You go with the known professional commodity versus the roll of the dice. When you have this power of the number one pick since 1947, you haven't had it. And the decision was to assess the quarterbacks. And that's what the general manager did. He puts his eggs in Justin Fields' hat and believes in that, in his basket. And that's what you got to do. Now you're building around Justin so you can get an appropriate analysis of that quarterback next season. DJ Moore, listen, he's a number one receiver. He's a number one legitimate to do what he's been able to do with the structure of
people
quarterbacks.
In the chat calling him a midget. What are you?
Inconsistent hands. He's a midget. He's
6 foot 2. Yeah, 6 foot 209 are the official number.
Yeah,
they're the numbers that I have. But I mean,
TJ
I
coming out
Bears
of Maryland,
fans are complaining just to complain at this point.
He's a dog. He has an extra gear.
He's already tweeted out, and it seems like he was pretty, obviously didn't know that this was coming down. Not saying that he's upset, but he just like gives the
shocked face.
Holy shit.
I mean, look, this is the fun time, right? So again, when free agency kicks off on Monday, this crosses names off the list. This frees up money for the guys in the trenches right now. And it's
exactly.
And it's
bro, what about guys that don't fit the scheme, Cars?
Oh, let's talk about that. But we always talked about it was going to be super hard this offseason to fill both the needs at the offensive line and defensive line and wide receiver position. And the way that free agency looked, there wasn't going to be the wide receiver. So the fact that now we have the wide receiver, we still have the cap space to do the offensive line stuff and the defensive line stuff, I don't know what more you could want. Again, any guy we drafted, we would hope would be a fraction of what DJ Moore has done.
Yeah, and listen, exciting rookie wide receivers are fun, and I understand that, Cars, but Justin Fields needs some veteran influence at this position with a guy that has been there, a guy that has done that. And I think that this is the part that's being undersold from Bears fans. It's, is this kid Randy Moss? No, he's not, but he doesn't. There's no Randy Moss that's out there that's available.
Well, I think we all got drunk at some point during this process, right? Yeah. Like we all started to see these people started to do mocks where it was 3 first-round picks, DJ Moore and Brian Burns, and somehow the recipe to be known for Carolina barbecue at the same point in time, right? Like it just exploded on our expectations. And like I said, if my biggest complaint is that the second round pick is the back end of the second round picks, that's nothing. That's a no big deal, because the Bears are now in a position. I know, Phil, there's a lot of center guys, right, that we've been looking at or we'd be interested in. Those guys are prime in that range. There are some offensive linemen that are prime in that range. So now there's so much more flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, what was that? It was 59, 61, and 64. That's what we're
53.
53.
53, 61, 64.
Yeah, so that's.
And I think I told you, Shane, I want 5 total picks between the first 2 rounds. Yep. That's still why I think that there's another trade down. Because if all of a sudden, there's been a lot of reports about McGlinchey or Taylor coming in, you can scale back a little bit. You really need to be 9 for some of the offensive linemen. If you go sign 1 or 2, all of a sudden I can move back again a little more. So I don't think they're done.
No, I don't either. And listen, free agency is going to pave the way, direction wise. And I think he will still try to stay true to his board. We gave you 3 names that'll be, very much involved and number 9 if they stay there. But listen, this is all coming back to me. And I know, Cars, I don't think you're on the same page that Phil and I are with the offensive tackle, giving the money to Orlando Brown. But to me, it's just, it makes even more sense to me now that you make that move and give him, you gave him a weapon. Now you give him my biggest point is I would rather give Orlando Brown 22.
340 pounds.
I'd rather give Orlando Brown 22 than give Mike McGlinchey, who has a pretty extensive injury history, 17 or 18, and just say, hopefully he doesn't get – anybody can get hurt. I realize
I need to go back and watch Orlando, but I can tell you the games I watched, I was not impressed. And I don't know if that's the contract hanging over his shoulders or what. So that's the only reason I'm out on Orlando is if you had given me 2021 Orlando Brown all day, but if you gave us 2021 Orlando Brown,
did you watch his games in the beginning? He got better as the season went on. I know he held out with the franchise tag and then came in late. He wasn't in shape, and we already know how big he is and enormous. But back down the stretch, I'm preparing tape. I already broke down a little bit on Keeping It 100 the other night of him. I mean, this is an enormous, not a small, it's an enormous, full pun intended, upgrade to Braxton Jones at left tackle. And listen, the Holy Trinity is quarterback, pass rusher, left tackle. Those are the things you as a coach want to make sure you have in place. Then you want to go get your corners and fill, obviously with a young quarterback, you got to have that number 1 wide receiver. So right now you have an opportunity to get a tackle that's 6'8", 340 pounds. And he's an athlete. He's mean. He did the job. He went against the best defense since the 85 Bears. How many sacks they had. He held down Sweat, who beat the fucking shit out of Braxton Jones upside down, left and right. Look, Braxton Jones looks like the school cafeteria lady and how bad he was getting beat out there. So this is what you got to do. And then to your point, I mean, even if they have to identify the tackle position to free up what it is you're doing in this draft, because you get a young stud defensive tackle. That should be the goal there. Now, if you go out and get Hargrave and Orlando Brown, now all of a sudden where the Bears are going becomes a huge mystery, because now you've hit those 2 key things. You would have to go pass rusher.
Depending, because again, right, you look at, they're probably going to be heavily involved in Draymond Jones. There's been some reports that there's some interest in Javon Hargrave, right? And so if that's the 2, all of a sudden you just have the flexibility of getting the kid that you want. And I think in that type of scenario, you get a Hargrave if you're going to do a Lucas Van Ness to be the eventual replacement at 3 technique, right? And these are the conversations that we start to have about the impact down the line.
That's easier. That's the easier pathway for me.
I was going lunch lady land, Shane, in my head. I don't know.
Hargrave, you can't deny the Hargrave talent. Just removing myself from this trade and looking at Hargrave, the player, fitting the blueprint of what you want in free agency moving forward, paying $19 million a year for an interior defensive lineman that's 30 years old has always been a risk. But if you're going to be the forward thinker, and you're paying Javon Hargrave, who has been consistent with big financial numbers. He played through his big contract in Philly and still put up big numbers. But to Carr's point, this is what we're not used to in Chicago. You have Hargrave with a forward thinking of Van Ness. That is that chess piece that you can play on the edge. You can move him inside. If you have an even bigger role for Dominique Robinson in your NASCAR package, this is the type of stuff that gets very exciting. Whereas when you go out and sign Orlando Brown, I feel like it wouldn't prevent me from doing it. But if you go out and sign Orlando Brown, I think that the Chicago Bears regime has enough belief in Braxton Jones as a starting offensive lineman. It probably removes Broderick Jones and Paris Johnson as viable pieces. It wouldn't prevent me at all. I'm saying for them, the pathway to Hargraves and Van Ness is a clear picture for me when I'm trying to think through my Ryan Poles lens.
You can't have enough defensive linemen.
Ian Cunningham was in Philly when they brought in Hargraves. So there's connections there. It's free agency is a big risk no matter what. It's an even bigger risk when you're paying guys that are 30 and above massive numbers. It's an even bigger risk.
You just traded for, if you're just tuning in, the Chicago Bears have traded their first overall pick, the number 1 pick in the draft, and they've gone and sent it to Carolina. Sweet Carolina.
And interesting.
Down to number 9. Then you get 61. It's a second round pick this year. You also get a next year, which was key in this whole trade, in my opinion, is that 2024 first round pick. Then you get a 2025 second round pick. Instead of the first round pick in 2025, you get that be a boss that Shane said, demand what you want. And what I wanted when Cars and everyone sent me the Ian Rappaport, I wanted DJmoore or Brian Burns. That's honestly what I wanted. And they got it. So now you've skipped over free agency to define getting a number 1 wide receiver. Oh, by the way, there is a history of getting a number 1 wide receiver for a young quarterback and having that kind of transform. It kind of becomes a penicillin for them. And that's what the Bears have done. And everybody's right. Everybody's right. You know, how you decide this now, the gamble is you got to draft great. Yeah, we know. That's why the whole thing is getting that surefire number 1 Cars, getting this receiver on top of the 2 first round picks, because don't skip over. They're picking 9 here in the first round. If it goes the way you're saying, where there's 4 quarterbacks, which I never would have believed, because I only have 2 that are in the top 10. But if they go 4, that's pushing talent down. And really, that's helping the Chicago Bears immensely in regards to their draft haul here.
Cars, talk about
I'm
that
excited.
Thing that you just texted me, because I think that this is important when you break it down that way.
Yeah, let me do this. So, there's a lot of different ways, and there are different point systems that people use today to measure the value of the trade, right? And so I'm going to add this real quick. So what this is basically by adding DJmoore, the way that this looks, the points, every pick is worth a point. The Bears, by getting DJmoore, got almost 2,000 additional points for the value of the first pick. So that is the equivalent of basically adding the 8th pick in this year's draft in what they've done. So when you look at these additional picks and you look at the player, like these are how we have to grade trades, and they're horribly unusual. It doesn't always make sense. But if you told me the option right now is DJmoore or a 2025 first,
it's a no-brainer.
Don't sell yourself short on how bad the NFC South is. New Orleans is in cap hell. Tampa is in cap hell. Atlanta is a rudderless ship, right? They have no idea what the hell they're doing. Carolina,
they all have questions at quarterback too, Cars.
Yes. And well, I mean, except for New Orleans, because why else would you pay $40 million for the corpse of Derek Carr? So, they are primed to take a step back this next year. That is the pick you want to go grab. As they rebuild this thing, that division being so bad, you have no idea whether this is going to be a good pick. And I would put money that in 25, they'll be one of the better teams in the NFC South because their cap situation is better and they will have a young quarterback. So go get your guy now. It's the same idea with the Claypool trade. Get your help now and still give you a little extra bump in the future to get, a first round pick next year, guaranteed to probably be top 10, if not top 5. You have so much more flexibility. It's what we needed. And this is what happens when your general manager sets the price and demands something instead of the old guy who just accepted whatever price was set on them. They defined this and made this happen on their terms.
So DJmoore helps Justin Fields attack the intermediate area of the field, an area he did well targeting in 2022. Justin Fields led the NFL with a 66.7% completion percentage on throws 10 to 19 yards downfield. DJmoore's 172 targets at 10 to 19 yards downfield from 2019 to 2022 is number 2 overall in the NFL.
And
just giving you that TTNL all access. Go ahead, Carr.
And what do we know? That range, that 10 to 20 yard, that is where offenses make their money. I love the deep shot. We love those 20-yard plays. But if you could start to chew up the middle of the field in large 10, 15-yard chunks over and over and over again, that's what Kansas City does. A lot of 15-yard plays, a lot of 18-yard pass plays. If this now just gives us another guy to go get chunks of yardage, I'm sorry. I just keep interrupting everybody because I am like foaming at the mouth, happy for once about something.
You got to be excited, just to answer some of the haters' questions. What happened to Will Anderson or bust? Well, you make a decision based on what it is the cupboard is in your building. You have to decide. And the GM made his plan a priority. I'm okay with this. I'm on the record. This is an understanding of your roster and how to build it. So you're competing for the championship because listen, this first round pick next year that Cars is identifying, there's no sure things ever. So, but I think it's pretty easy to say that it's going to be in the top 10. Now, we don't know how the Bears are going to finish, but that was way too early. I don't even see the roster yet. So this gives you a protective shield on the quarterback, as well as giving you an opportunity to get him some more weapons next year. If he proves himself. Now, next year, you have 2 first-round picks. If Justin Fields underwhelms or whatever, not saying it's going to happen, but this is a business first. So the GM is looking at this team from the perspective of trying to win championships. So saying take over the North and never give it back isn't bullshit. It's actually real. And that's really what you're seeing here. And I'm telling you, if they got, to me, this isn't hindsight, if they did get 9, then the second round pick this year, next year's first, and a first and 25, I would have been a little disappointed because I really wanted Burns or more. They got Burns. I mean, they got more. They got more, and they got a second round in 25. So to me, this is a huge, huge win for the Chicago Bears. And yes,
I'm building my Lovey statue. Yeah, I'm building my Lovey statue in the backyard now. And Shane, you're muted. You pulled the cars.
Is now muted.
You pulled.
I had to yell at people that were. I'm on air, and my phone keeps on ringing from people that want to talk about the trade. But
oh my god,
you have to let Lovey Smith announce it. You have to let Lovey Smith announce a pick this year for the Bears, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. See, and guys, that's your
first
other mistake.
Pick. That would be amazing.
You guys,
but I mean, think about how crazy Ivan and I
were
going
Bear
in during that Houston game. But think about that you don't convert any of those miraculous plays. You don't convert the 2-point conversion. This right now does not exist.
This feels like way back. I'm serious. And I get goosebumps saying this, and I hope it's clear because I understand it in my brain. But it feels way back to the George Halas times when things kind of fell into the Bears' lap, and you're the charter franchise, you're the bullies, and you kind of get what you need in order to be victorious and win championships. That ball was an inch away from being deflected, and it falls into the hands of the Houston Texans receiver. And then they go for 2 and they get it again and win. And all of a sudden it changed the whole context of this move. Doesn't happen. So it becomes almost a story in history instead of a footnote like Rick Meyer. I'm tired of the footnotes, Cars. I'm tired of the footnotes.
Again, we've said a lot that this offseason will be the true test of who Ryan Poles is, right? Because he had to clear the deck. He had to start over. We still don't know for sure. But again, he set the terms. He defined everything. You saw the reports. They wanted to do a 2025 first. He wanted DJmoore. We got DJmoore. If anything gives me hope for this future is I think you see him building confidence. I think, Ryan Poles is getting more comfortable in the role. Ian Cunningham and crew are here for a second year to help him along. But the fact that he didn't blink with that first round pick, he was aggressive. He did this. It was the right move. It was a great return on value. That is not something we have often said in trades that have involved our team, right? We've always said like, "Oh my God, we overpaid. We overpaid."
Speaking of trades,
Nick, you can't say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 1 year ago today, the Chicago Bears traded Khalil Mack 1 year ago today.
Who's going to be a cap casualty in San Diego? Or sorry,
can we bring him back? Can we bring Mac back?
What was the comment you had up there, Phil? I didn't see it.
The trade they would have gotten the same return for the second.
Oh, yeah.
They would have got, and that's not true.
No,
that's totally not true because they couldn't do it before the free agency. Because if you are giving Carolina, they're identifying the guy that they want. Right?
Yeah, if they want CJ Stroud and Houston goes to number 1 and drafts CJ Stroud, they're not making that. They're not making
the move. So you cannot say, exactly. You can't say that. That's why the Lovey Smith defeating, and it totally is true. I've verified it with a few people I know that Lovey found out he was being fired and basically gave a college style, a Toshin style pep talk. And went out there and executed it at the end. Like, let's go. Let's fucking win this. Fuck this owner. Let's win this. I got to take one thing out the door. I respect the hell out of that. I respect that. And I am super excited. If you're just tuning in, this is what we do on our patron side with pop-up show, the tapeneverlies.com. We're going to be breaking down the DJmoore tape For all the haters out here that say he's not a number one, he's
not getting any new deal. He's under contract for the next 3 seasons, Jeremy, and it's
3 years. And he's 25. He's the same
20,
age as
and then
Bayless.
it's going down. It's going down. It's going from 20 to 16.
Yeah,
16 again.
He's 17 mil a year, and when you guys when you see the amount of money that Jacoby, Mecole Hardman, and what the guy who likes women to shit on him,
Peter Bukowski. Or
Odell Beckham.
Odell.
All right, that was
he had a workout today.
But when you see the amount of money that these guys sign for, and you relate it back to what DJ is and the value you get, this is a home run. This is somehow he gave Carolina a massive discount for his deal. And if you remember, Phil, I think we were on the old network. We were all hoping that DJmoore was there in the second round for the Bears to draft.
Absolutely.
It's such a good day. It's such a
good day. You want to know what makes it good? Speaking of Peter Bukowski, I had to run to his timeline to see what he is saying. And this is a couple of tweets. I just don't understand why the Panthers would do this trade. DJmoore is a very good young player who's already under contract. Presumably, you need guys like that for the quarterback that you're taking at number one. That was what Carr's fear was. And then he says, if the Panthers were going to give up this much, why not just, I don't know, trade for a 26-year-old former NFL MVP? Talking about Lamar
Jackson.
It's always a good day when Peter Bukowski's butthurt about the Bears.
I mean, and it's
listen. I'm sorry.
No,
Carolina is doing what the Bears have done and missed on with Mitch Trubisky. You have to get your quarterback. They're tired of the veteran. Let's repatch this. Let's put another Band-Aid on it. They have to do it. So I don't agree with anybody that said the Bears are going to get more if they waited. What the Bears are doing strategically is preparing the draft by going into free agency, knowing that we've already occupied our hall and got, instead of paying a free agent receiver, who everybody's saying the market for receiver, there's no number ones. Like, we all like Myers here. Juju Smith-Schuster, that would be a nice signing, right? If DJmoore is out in the free agent market, he's the number one free agent target.
It's not even close.
Exactly.
And you're paying him $25 million plus a year.
Exactly.
And let's be honest. If Chase Claypool was out there, he's the number one. Even with
or two, number one or two. I'll say that.
But I just don't think people should write.
You can't shit
Claypool
on
off. You cannot write him off yet.
Anybody doing the Claypool write-off when you come in mid-season into an offense that's in its infancy with a play caller who's just learning how to be an OC and an offensive line that sucked. Don't give me this PFF bullshit. It was horrible. Horrible. It's a comedy all over the country, except with Chicago Bears meatheads that are saying they had the number one fucking run game. Yeah, Justin's numbers in the mix make that happen. So they lacked anything, and he's learning on the go, and then he gets hurt at the worst possible moment. So his story is in its infancy. So we're in the preface of his book with the Bears. And I really believe, what I saw in Pittsburgh and how they use Claypool in red zone and throwing those back shoulders. And this kid is a talented athlete. So
this just elevates him.
Writing him off. This makes
totally
him better.
agree, Carter.
This makes him better. He is not, listen, as much as I love Mooney and as much as I love Claypool, Neither one of those guys was a number one. This pushes everybody down to their more natural thing.
Yoka.
We always said, who's going to get double teams? Who on our wide receiver core is going to draw double teams? It was Chase when he was singled up on a corner with safety help. Now it's going to be DJ a lot.
There you go.
It's going to free up. Yes. It's a wonderful
dog
thing.
We haven't had
breaking news. The tape never lies. Network breaking news.
There they are. Cairo Santos just got fucked out of his jersey, but who cares?
Oh, he's switching his jersey. He's switching his jersey.
I'm all about that number 2 jersey. Yeah,
I would love that jersey on him.
Everybody's going to turn that into a Robbie Gould free agent signing, but
listen again. When you can do this, and Phil, to your
point,
point,
wear 9.
If you didn't do this, you were in a position in the draft and free agency where you had to overspend and you wouldn't get the production. It was at a point where sitting at 9, at 1, where you needed to move down and hope that, JSN or Quentin Johnston or Addison or one of these guys developed eventually to become what DJ is. And it's not like he's got that $30 million deal. We were all sitting here for a while talking about how DeAndre Hopkins. Guess what? DJ Moore is $2 million more or $4 million more than Hopkins, and he's still an ascending young player. And you were going to have to give up. Arizona wanted a 2nd or a 3rd round pick for Hopkins. And now we basically got him as a throw-in inside of a trade. That's the win. That is the absolute win, and I am thrilled.
I am thrilled. If you're just tuning in, it's TTNL pop-up show. Pop.
The way that this show came about, I called Phil and called Cars. I didn't even really have to ask too much. Like, you guys ready? And they're like, yeah.
I was literally sitting on the couch, my feet up. I'm like, I am so fucking tired. I swear to God, that's what I'm saying.
You and me, but I just told
all of a sudden, Shane's calling. I'm looking at my phone's like, Bears traded. I'm like, oh my God. And then I saw, at first it was Rappaport. I'm like, let's just go live. And then as I was sitting down, Jose Cotto's like, we got DJ Moore. And I'm like, Cars sent me the same thing. I go, we got more? He's like, yes.
See, this is your guys' fault for being so likable and popular. Yeah. That's why your phone going off. Mine has been absolute silence. So you really got to be an absolute dick the whole time. And by the way, has Bullets texted you yet that we traded for DJ Moore? Or is that
I'm in a text thread with Bullets and Ryan Cox, and they just both broke the news.
Good. Thanks.
I got a special message coming in, Shane. I got a special message from one of our TTNL favorite guests.
Oh, by the way, can you guys play this message? Because if you can, I would like you to drop this message in. And that message is this: run and hide, assholes. Run and hide. No, I didn't mean to go all full Terry Benedict here, but what I want you to do, I want you to go find all the tweets of those Packer fans who weeks ago were tweeting out the dumbest things, saying stuff like, imagine how funny it's going to be when the Bears can't find a trade partner and they end up taking Will Anderson. How does it feel? Not only did we get multiple first-round picks, we got DJ fucking Moore. So enjoy your day, everybody. Talk to you soon.
That might be my new ringtone. I'm not going to lie.
The Adam Rank message coming through live here. Running hot.
I listen, if you're one of these, go spend the $99 or whatever it is for NFL Plus and go watch Carolina Panthers on offense. Do it the last 3 years. Watch the way that he works. Watch the coverages that they shift over to this man. Watch the impact he has. You remember that game against Carolina where DJmoore destroyed us and we had Teddy Bridgewater looking like an all-pro? And we were all
absolutely.
And many people were sitting there going, why can't we get a guy like him? Well, guess what? We have that guy now. So let's just sit down, shut the fuck up, and just enjoy the fact that we have a number one wide receiver. And if I hear anyone complaining about it, I hate you.
Carters, I was just looking up some stuff, and we talked about not this exact trade, but a package very similar to this in the beginning of November on Cars Keys. You know, we brought up the Brian Burns, the DJmoore, and originally, I mean, Coach Atoshin just texted me and told me to go shit in the hat because now we can't get Will Anderson, but
that is still
everybody on your defense better because they're going to see a great football player, and now you're going to have to play like him, or he's going to tell you shit in your hat and get the hell off the field.
I literally I was in a conference in San Francisco this week, and at one point I looked at one of my coworkers and I'm like, what are you going to do? Just sit there, go shit in a hat? And it worked really well. It motivated him to get up and get moving. So thanks to Coach O, I'm now a motivational speaker. So
I think Coach O is going to be happy with this trade because the understanding is the Bears got a first-round pick, 2 of them, a second round, and then a number 1 wide receiver to properly assess not only Justin Fields, but this offense to help it. And it helps you in this draft as well. It helps you in this draft because there's JSN is no DJmoore. I will tell you that. I wouldn't. Zay Flowers.
Well, he's a proven NFL wide receiver, Phil. That's young, and I mean
exactly
I know Adam's good friend. There's Maisie. Hi, Maisie.
Amazing. But Ryan Poles has to be.
Hold on, Maisie has a message for us all.
Here we go.
All right, Maisie, go ahead.
Go shit in the hat.
Yes. Clip it.
Play that.
That's just good. That's just good parenting right there. Love it.
I don't know.
That's
what
awesome.
Can I say? I can't say what. That the Bears have gotten a number 1 wide receiver.
No, I think he's saying that you can't say that he's better than JSN, which I'll say it too. I'll back him up on that.
I will say it 100%.
Yeah,
I will say it 100%.
JSN
may get there someday.
Yeah, Cars is with us on this. Everybody
today.
on this panel, there's nobody here drafting JSN the way that we have it broke down and number 9, even before this trade. If we went to number 9 without DJmoore. No.
I would have had a tough time with it. I would have understood, though, if they had done it because it's such a hole. And I'm just glad that now it's not an issue. And Jim's got a great question here because I think Skoronski, depending on free agency, is a possibility, but only as a guard position. So, like, he would be your white hair replacement left guard type of move.
Do you play?
Yeah,
do you push
I have the other 2.
Do you push? If that happened, do you push white hair? Let's say you sign Orlando Brown in free agency, and then you draft Skoronski. Do you, rather than cutting Cody Whitehair, financially you do not have to. I'd rather see him at center.
$5 million savings or something like that.
Would you push him back to center?
Oh, I would totally, because Lucas Patrick is an unknown.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't factor into this at all.
He doesn't factor into it. Again,
but DJmoore, this is more money. This makes a white hair release potentially more likely because of his cap number if they can get some of these younger guys, right? They've got to spend a whole bunch. This may be a move where they move on. We've talked about what Pochik. The Titans have just released Ben Jones. There's several other. Yeah, but he'd be a 1 to 2 year guy like Hargrave.
They released him with an injury designation though to fail. So that's something that you're gonna have to look into at 30. Fantastic player when he's healthy, even at 34, complete upgrade. But no, it's just something that I was thinking about.
I wouldn't take Skronsky there. I have the other two.
I can't take Skronsky over Paris Johnson or Broderick Jones.
I understand that completely, but I'm just saying, like, he's a guard. If you go out and sign Taylor, McGlinchey, whoever it is, tackle's not necessarily. I think I agree with your point that the front office, depending on where Braxton is in his offseason, is comfortable with him. So guard would become the next place.
Yeah, and this is guard.
I think he can play tackle, but I just don't have him as high as the other two.
I don't either.
Carolina's getting pretty wildly destroyed for this trade by a lot of people right now.
And my son had just texted me like from a day or two ago, that Carolina had considered trading down, like a spot if there were more than two guys. So you make this trade now ahead of free agency because the more time you wait, we've all been about to make a big purchase and then we've thought about it and then we've not made that big purchase. Exactly. Now you're trying to take advantage of them making that big purchase right now.
So and I guess they believe in Justin Fields, right? I guess that's.
I think that's the other part, right?
Cemented in place.
They're going to trade up to 2 for Bryce Young now. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, there you go.
The other thing is if you have those 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4, now how people determine how they pick thereafter. So 5 would be Seattle, right?
Yeah, they'd take Will Anderson.
They're going to take Will, right? So 6. What do we got? Who's 6?
Well, then you have Detroit. Listen, I wouldn't count Detroit out for Jalen Carter if this isn't. This doesn't go to a level where it's really bad. They are all about adding interior pressure to this defense.
And their dip teeth coach wants people to bite kneecaps, so he'd be the one to try to motivate Carter, probably.
Jalen Carter is a big wild card here because of the off the field situation. He could be there at 9.
That pushes you to 7. I think Vegas would be involved with an offensive lineman at 7, probably.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think they're moving. I think they're the team to watch to move to number 3 now with Arizona because I think if they're going to go forward, I think Arizona would be at that point because
then you're talking Wilson probably for them, Tyree Wilson.
Because I think Gannon. But I would also not be shocked if they did an offensive lineman there because it does seem that the guy who's going to fail as a head coach is all in on Kyler Murray.
8, you're talking Atlanta, and I mean that can go a bunch of different ways.
Baltimore.
Yep.
I still think there's a chance that they make the move.
Think it's going to happen?
The longer this sits, that Lamar to Atlanta, I know everybody came out and said no. But the amount of blowback that the NFL has got, because this totally looks like collusion more than anything, may encourage some teams to be like, you know what, fuck it, we'll do it.
So, guys, I think not that this isn't going to be an uncomfortable talk because we don't have the details. We don't know where it's going. But under the circumstances, draft day comes up and you paint the picture of how this may go. You're on the clock at number 9. and Jalen Carter is staring you in the face. This is going to be an interesting dilemma for Chicago. And to me, their work on him off the field and everything that's going on doesn't have to be ramped up, because it had to be intense before you made this trade. Because if you were staying at 1, he was clearly a guy that was going to be involved, even if you dropped to 4 or dropped to 2. If you drop to 9 in this scenario and you believe that everything is going to be good off the field with this situation, it's an absolute wild card.
Yeah,
and you have to be sold on his love. You have to be sold, because listen, lots of people are still saying he's still a lock to go top 10, and there's a lot of people that think he's still going top 5, and they're including, Seattle in that they don't think that Seattle, but if they go 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterback, is Seattle going to go, defensive tackle versus edge rusher?
And there's a lot of weirdness that's still available.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we have to talk. It's something that has to be talked about.
The next, listen, and more of the light will get shed on the next 2 weeks. I thought we were 2 weeks out from being a trade, but it turns out that Carolina jumped up and made it. Because, you got to think about little things. Every free agent that was franchise was the non-exclusive tender.
Yep.
Could it be that the Bears, and I don't think it is, but I always like to throw up the conjecture, could it be, it's 2 first-round picks? Do you look at Payne and say, we got an extra first next year and a first this year? Do you do that? No idea, right? But all of these different pieces and portions are on the table right now. And if you're looking at a second trade back, right, I think you have to look at teams like the Commanders. I think you have to look up teams like the Patriots. There are teams now that are more desperate than before. And so keep looking in those mid-second round picks, right, of where people are. Pittsburgh gets hungry. All of a sudden, can you get your second round pick back from them? All of these things are completely on the table right now, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Producer Caden Whitlow, TTNL producer, going right to work, Shane. Look at him. Bears getting the trade. If you're just tuning in or you're just getting off a flight or getting out of work, whatever it is, the Bears have moved down to pick number 9 in the first round of this year's NFL draft. They get a 2023 second round pick that's 61st overall. Then next year's, which is critical here, next year's first. So they're going to have 2 first round picks next year and a second in 2025, as well as the guy that's in the pick, DJmoore, a number 1 wide receiver. We all have talked endlessly about getting a true analytical sense of Justin Fields has been tremendously hard with the obstacles that the Chicago Bears roster and staff have had. Infancy stages of an OC, bad line, and not enough talent at the receiver position. Here they go. So now he's traded for 2 wide receivers, Shane and Cars. Go ahead, Cars.
I just want to put this out. So Mike Kay, who is the sports writer that covers the Panthers for the Charlotte Observer, said in a tweet, the Bears made wide receiver DJmoore a must in trade discussions with the Panthers. They were adamant that he had to be included in the deal. So again, we don't know what Poles is going to be, but the fact that they made this known and would not complete this deal at this point until he was included in, that is massive. So that tells you, again, he's going to set his. We started to see that a little bit in free agency last year, where he set his value, and when guys went past that value, he moved on. But now to define that in a trade, it gives me more hope that this is a guy who is very confident in his role moving forward.
I think you got to really hear what Carr said, and I know Shane, you said it on keeping it 100. You got to be the control. You got to be the prick. You got to demand. That's what we're finding out.
You listen.
You don't pull the Jerry Angelo.
At number two, at number 2, you don't control much. At number 1, you don't ask for things. You tell people, if you want your quarterback, this is what is going to be required to come to one. It's fine if you don't have to meet my price, then you're not getting your guy. I'll go on to next. And this is the thing. Carolina was so far down outside, and when people were saying, we just had a guy, Lance Zierlein, who's actually a great analyst and guy that breaks down NFL talent, saying at the NFL Combine, the play of the quarterbacks at the Combine, the workouts devalued the number 1 overall pick because they showed that there was 4 good quarterbacks. And it's such a dumb comment.
Not a fan of Lance.
If you have them all graded exactly the same, then he has a point. But we know nobody has these guys graded the same. Nobody. Everybody's going to have their favorite flavor.
Well, and what happens every year, right? These analysts, they all say, oh, like Will Levis is a guy that I could easily see not be in the top 5, right? But all these analysts keep saying that he's a top 10 pick, that teams are sold. And what happens every year? The Bruglers, the Millers, they all say, nope, this guy's going higher than you think. And then they go exactly where we think, right? So no one knows value unless you're in the league. I love some of Greg Gabriel stuff, but he doesn't know the value of these guys as much anymore. It's just the way that it is. A lot of information is hidden. It's going to happen.
Oh, Carolina, your ass.
It was just great the way that this heated up. It was like a Bunsen burner, man. It heated up so fast, and everybody's going crazy. And we're like, man, is this going to go down this weekend? And then Zimmerman, you put your phone down for 30 seconds, and then boom, I put it out on our Patreon for our patrons, and they're like, is this just smoke? Is this bullshit? Which we're not in the business to do that. We're going to always report stuff, but there was so much talk in such a condensed amount of time. You're like, yeah, this is legit. This is happening.
Bill Zimmerman, hold on.
Go ahead.
4 years ago, or 4 hours ago, Bill Zimmerman was the first thing that started this for me. So I do have to give him a little bit of credit, where he said he posted a link to James Taylor's YouTube song, Carolina in My Mind. And he said, is the number 1 pick singing. And from that moment, you just felt like, to Shane's point, we had heard it was coming. When that went out, it was like, okay, where is this going to go? And it escalated fast. It's like Anchorman, right? Like, wow, that got out of hand really quickly.
It really did.
But it went from 4. Yeah.
I think
put that comment back up there. I'll
put
address
it back up. I want to say one thing. I think the news is huge. It's amazing. It's a great move. But I think even better for me, knowing Kevin Warren is your new president and leader here with a GM that's going to be aggressive. I would hope he was going to be aggressive. That's why I'm going to fold my arms and see what polls does. The fact that I said, no, you got to get DJmoore or Brian Burns, and that's exactly what the GM is saying, then finally I feel like there's that Atoshan brain finally being used, like somebody that.
Well, you not only get that, Phil, but you got a second rounder on top of that.
Exactly. That's what people are missing here.
They wanted to give.
I was disappointed. I swear to God, I was like, oh, Rappaport, we got 3 1s and a second this year, and then a second. No, I wanted DJmoore, Brian Burns. You got DJmoore. I went through their roster, and I was a little disappointed if it was Derek Brown. but the Chicago Bears did what they needed to do.
There's another first-round draft pick right there. Look at that girl.
There's a first-round pick right here. She's getting the pizza, guys. Are they sponsoring our show? Whatever pizza place this is it Moderna Pizza? Are we getting?
Hello, Steph.
Hi, Steph.
Hi, guys.
Cars and
hello.
Big moment here in Bears history. All Steph wants is David Montgomery back.
Yeah, that's not happening. So let's just move on.
Cars sleeps with a Steph too. I feel left out here. Mine's I don't have a Steph.
Get rid of the Neela. Upgrade to a Steph.
Be careful on the upgrade. They come with a murder you in your sleep package. So you just gotta
I sleep with one eye open, bro.
Yours will murder you while you're awake. Ours will kill us while we're sleeping.
I got home with food. We were having an early dinner because Riley's got a buddy over for the night, and of course, 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds are hungry 24/7. So I got a couple pies and walked in, and everybody started to eat, and then Daddy had to go downstairs into the studio and talk about this, but let's address that comment, Phil. Put that back up there because I think it's important because it's 0 for 3 on bullshit, but we'll talk about it. You got it up there.
I had it starred.
Oh,
and I asked someone
there
took it down.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. So, okay.
And
Ninos, I guess I would ask you what could listen, that's how we do it.
No,
what was the bigger deal we could have gotten for Khalil Mack?
Who's getting released?
He was going to get released. You got a second rounder because of his financial, commitment that was attached to him. So I think he did fine. The Roquan deal. Who was giving you more than a 2 and 5? Nobody's giving up a first-round draft pick for an off-the-ball backer. Nobody. I mean, what was the better deal there? And the 49ers didn't
know why. Go ahead.
Yeah, the 49ers and that package, they moved
up. You got
a
second-round pick for Roquan.
Second and a fifth.
And I forgot about the fifth. So, I mean, what were you going to get for an off-the-ball linebacker that none of us wanted to see paid the kind of money he got with the Ravens? The number 1 overall pick, he's saying the 49ers gave up more to move to 3 overall.
But that's degrading DJ Moore's value completely because he's basing it on picks. Cars just showed you the complete massive overpay points wise. Cars, you want to bring that up again? Yeah, break that down again, Cars.
So when you look at point values, and this is as the trade sits now, right? They assign point values on future picks lower because they kind of do an average somewhere in the middle. So by just adding DJ Moore, you'll notice that they were already over the point total before he got added in. Now we got what was equivalent to the 8th pick overall in the draft for making this trade. If we all know how hard it is for a trade to be universally loved by pundits. We caught a lot of flack for the Khalil Mack trade that people thought we gave up too much. This one is universally loved because of the value that DJ Moore adds. And please do not undersell. The pick next year is going to be top 5, top 10. So all of a sudden you have basically gotten better today, which we needed to do, instead of waiting 2 years in the hope that we could get better. San Francisco or Philadelphia would have taken 2 picks if the San Francisco 49ers included Nick Bosa or a player of that quality. That is what DJ Moore is. He is a top-of-the-line wide receiver, and that costs you a pick in the future. And that's the difference.
It's a huge difference here to get this kind of football player on your roster to help your quarterback. We've seen it with Josh Allen. We've seen it with Hurts. With Jalen Hurts, you have to get these targets that are going to occupy defenders in the middle of the field that are dogs, that are able to run the route tree, and every ball is going to be captured with their eyes and their hands. This is the kind of football player you're getting in Chicago. He's done things. Everybody loved Allen Robinson coming from Jacksonville, and it was a similar kind of an analysis of him because of the quarterbacks that were in Jacksonville. You saw the numbers, and to his credit, when he was here, there was moments that you saw. I just thought his work ethic, he wasn't a dog. When it was time to run block, he kind of coasted. DJ Moore, as Steve Smith is going to tell you there. I mean, that he loves DJ Moore. And because DJ Moore doesn't take plays off, and DJ Moore did it with a terrible quarterbacking situation and rotation there.
And
that's really what you're getting. You're
game.
Getting a 25-year-old every game.
Yeah. Like, it's
good contract.
He turns 26 on
Young.
the 14th. So, I mean, not that it matters, but he's the
April?
same. April 14th.
March.
So April. But he's the same age as Velus Jones. I mean,
and he averages 14 yards a catch. Guys, that doesn't happen by accident. Like, when you're sitting there as a guy right now who's caught 360 balls for over 5,000 yards, averaging 14 yards a catch, those are big boy numbers with subpar quarterback play, with not a lot of hope anywhere, with one of the worst head coaches that the pro game has ever seen. So now we're sitting there, and to answer this, we're basically down 20 million in cap, so from 98 to 78 million, to get someone who is going to impact you day one, play one. When we open up against whoever we open up next year, DJ Moore is going to be on the field, and that is going to be a player that the opposing defense is going to have to point out and say, you need to watch him wherever he's going. This is a guy that some teams will have their best cornerback follow around. I say he's not a true one, right? I always say there's 5 to 8 of those any point in time. This isn't a Justin Jefferson. Does it mean that he's still not really fucking good?
Listen, Stephon Diggs out of Maryland as well. That's what the type of player you're getting. A guy when the ball is in the, what do I call it, dog? Guy that's willing to block, yes, he'll check that box. He's a willing blocker. But the big key ingredient here is if the ball is in the air and he's run a deep in and the linebacker is dropped in the zone, he's going to come out the backside of that window. And even if the opposite will linebacker is coming, he's going to attack the football with his eyes and hands and run through the next guy. This is what moves the chains. This is a guy that's going to get you big chunk plays, but also move the chain plays. And that's the difference here. We'll watch the tape. If you're not a patron, I don't know what the fuck you're doing waiting on your hands and knees. It's the equivalent of going to Dunkin' Donuts for you and your wife. Actually, it's less than that. $7 a month. Become a patron. We're going to be breaking down why DJ Moore is going to have a huge impact with the Chicago Bears this Sunday.
Breaking news. The Tape Never Lies Network. Breaking news.
I had it queued up perfectly, and now I just fucking lost it. Hold on. Stay with me.
What do you got?
Stay with me for a second.
I'm bored now. Come on.
It's on a roll. I had such a great promo going.
Right here. Roger.
No.
God, I should block you from this network for that. Stop.
Oh, I thought you.
Stop.
Wait, but Phil, I think this is just, you know how I like to look at things, but Stephon Diggs in 5 years in Minnesota had more touchdowns, 30 to 21, but had less catches and less yards than what DJ Moore has done. So when you look at 5 years to 5 years, it is a big win. So if this is the Buffalo adding Stephon Diggs to make Josh Allen explode, you can't pay too much. You cannot.
Playmaking standpoint from
the record here. I called it. Yes, stats are for losers. You see Kari Blazing game in that promo. He is back on a 2-year deal. The Bears signed their long snapper, Scales. He's back on a 1-year deal. So the Chicago Bears also, by the way.
And this guy's back. Caden Whitlow.
He's back.
He's
My
still
guy.
ready to mingle, ladies. It's Friday night.
Yes, we're excited.
Are you happy with the trade out there in Iowa?
Oh, I'm so happy. DJmoore has been one of my favorite players probably since his rookie year, so it's kind of crazy we pulled him off, bring him in, and then getting the picks on top of that.
Sorry, I just had to throw that because it kind of goes back to our earlier conversation. If there's a good enough offer,
I don't know how many yards he got in the Rose Bowl, but JSN is what you're trying to say here. You don't scout the Rose Bowl.
I think he's just busting.
I think he's being tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, he'd better go to Jared and get me a ring because that was a bad joke. My God.
His last game against Penn State, he did go for 8 catches and 100 yards in his last collegiate game. So not a bad thing.
Nice.
Yeah, and again, this is more than just, no pun intended, Caden. It's more than just DJmoore. You are getting the first pick this year, number 9, in a draft where Poles has said there's 7 to 8 guys that he believes are blue chippers. You're in a position where 4 quarterbacks go. I am not very good at math, but I think that's 5 spots to you. So you are identifying a guy that's going to be a starter and a blue chip quality. If it was 7, then you got 4 spots. But there's a reality here that there's always a shock that goes in the top 10 as well. So I think you're in a great position to not only hit free agency tremendously and build the lines there and open yourself up to possibly, if you've hit the lines there in free agency, then all of a sudden you can decide if you wanted to trade down from 9. But right now, as we sit, I would say, no, I'm staying there. And I've identified 6 guys that I believe will be there at 9.
Yeah, Cars, I mean, you totally agree. If the Bears are at 9 until they're on the clock, if something's going down.
I think
it's pretty rare for
where you're picking now. Yeah, there aren't a lot of predisposed trades. The earliest you'd start to see this would be around pick 6, pick 7 is when you'd start to hear more of the rumors, right? Because everyone's got to see how the first 3 or 4 go and where Will Anderson goes, and then that kind of changes everything.
Yeah, we gotta see what happens to Arizona, I would say, before you really see what the Bears do.
Yeah, you're gonna see there. I mean, Jalen Carter becomes a screwball in the draft. How he falls, like Shane said, Detroit, do they take him? Do the Cardinals take him? Now that's going to push down more players because I don't think Ryan Poles is in a position, especially with all the question marks. Is it going to be even settled by the draft? We do think, I believe all of us, that the Georgia coaching staff was in on sabotaging this kid based on the timing of when the information came out.
Yeah, not saying that he didn't make a really dumb fucking set of decisions. He did. He's guilty of that. But the timing of the release, Stetson Bennett's thing came out the same exact day also, his police report. So it's interesting to see.
It's going to give a lot of prospects some concern about going to Kirby, which because Because I think we saw that with Clemson for a while.
Kirby is a fantastic recruiter, and he's also a fantastic asshole beyond that. We'll just leave it at that. But can't deny how amazing of a football program that he's built. But when you're openly shitting, being involved in shitting on your players, that's cause for concern in my book.
Well, guys, I hate to do this, but my wife is working. I have to pop off to go make sure they have not completely destroyed.
Can you clip that, what he just said? We'll just stop it after I got to go pop off, and then that'll be it.
And then shit in the hat from his daughter. Pop off from him. We even got his cat. Actually, what's your cat's name? I didn't know you had a cat.
Angelo.
That's Gertie. She's
that would be amazing.
She's 15 or 16.
15 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gertie.
So thanks, everybody. Let's celebrate, and don't be Roger. Don't be Roger. That's it.
Love it. See you, man.
Love it. Great job, Cars Keys on this network, and Draft Mob, which Draft Mob might be rescheduled again. Might change it again. We are going to be planning on breaking down Notre Dame defensive end edge rusher Isaiah Foskey and our guy Will McDonald from Iowa State on Draft Mob, using the tape to show you guys the truth. So go over there, sign up for Patreon. This Sunday, we're going to go to the tape. I'm going to take all of his tape and kind of put together a showcase of what this guy's going to bring to the table and smash all the blog boys with the bullshit. I know people were speculating. I think Ryan Poles did a heck of a job setting up his offseason. Now he can worry about free agency and get the situation that's in front of Justin Fields ironed out, because now you got Mooney, Claypool, DJmoore, and whoever else you still could be drafting some young receiver. Valus Jones,
Hardman, maybe. You never know. I don't know how you feel about that, but
feel about who? I didn't know
Hardman.
McCole Hardman. He's wondering.
Yeah, it's obviously all going to depend on money now. I mean, since you have $20 million invested here, but under the right circumstance, listen, they have the money to burn. That's what, I talked to Cars about this earlier today. I know people like McGlinchey,
is N'Keal Harry still under contract?
I don't believe
he's
so.
going to be a free agent.
Yeah, I mean, I'd bring him back on a 1-year vet minimum deal if he wants to come compete. But other than that, I'm not involved. But McGlinchey at 17 or 18, or I can pay Orlando Brown 21 or 22. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer.
The Bears could go out there, Caden, and get a nice tight end in free agency.
Yeah,
and
I mean, there's the draft too.
You added another piece
in the middle.
Yeah, in the draft too. I mean, I took a tight end early in the draft. And I believe you got to identify Kincaid. How they set this up in the free agency is going to set up the draft, and I think they set their board up tremendously by not only helping now. You've helped now, but also the future, and that's really a home. Who can deny that, right? At the end of the day, you can't deny that.
Should we give Caden Willow a pop quiz real quick?
Sure.
Caden, who's the best wide receiver on the Carolina Panthers roster right now? Go.
Marshall, Terrence Marshall.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah. Could be it.
He passed the test. That's why he works here with us.
We like it. But that's interesting. If Marshall is your
questionable
top option, that's right. That's questionable at best, I would say.
Are we playing the Panthers at Carolina this year? Is Vincent right? Can we check?
I'm not 100%.
We might have to do a TTNL draft. I mean, a tailgate in Carolina, Shane. We'll go to the away game and do one. But, at 9,
Not a bad draft. We could pick up Ryan Cox. Ryan Cox is down there. Fuck. Dan Aguirre lives in West Virginia. Let's make it a fucking crazy party. I would suck DJ. Oh, I'm sorry.
Tell you shit in your hat and get the hell off the field.
That was my best Dan Aguirre voice. People are like, what the fuck is he talking about?
He probably doesn't like the trade right now. I'm sure. Everyone's going to find something that they don't like.
Bosun's 100% correct. You're banking on a
definitely top 10.
You're booking on a rookie quarterback getting you where you want to go in year one. It's a massive deal for Chicago.
We play the Panthers at home next year
in Chicago.
Oh, we play them in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe we go to that game. We'll see when the schedule comes out.
But yeah, we should.
We're gonna wrap it up
before
here.
we all get beat up. Yeah,
it's going an hour and 40 minutes here. My wife's going to get the pizza. Look at that.
I know. I went and got the pizza. I told Hila, she's like, "How long?" And I'm like, "Probably a half hour." So she's like, "You're so full of shit." And then I just closed the door because I knew I was full of shit too.
You were like Ryan Pace.
Yeah, 35 minutes, babe. We're good. Be right back.
Listen, guys, I'm serious. We appreciate you guys. All 7. There was almost 900 of you guys here at one point. I'm really asking you guys, head over there, support TTNL and yourselves. Make
there's
yourself
our guy.
a smarter shot. My boy, Herb. What up, kid?
Got a wide receiver, Herb.
Got a wide receiver, Herb. We're going to have maybe Herb come on.
Absolutely.
The tapeneverlies.com. It's that simple. www.
Yeah, if you want to see a comprehensive breakdown of DJmoore, that's the only place you're going to get it.
Definitely.
And we got the Telestrator. We got it all going. I don't know where the super producer is tonight. He's been quiet. Has anyone checked on Ivan? Is he asleep?
Yeah.
He's probably
sleeping.
He's going to wake up.
Going on?
He's text the chat here in a bit and break the news.
Hey, are we going to go live? Bro, we already went.
That would be funny. Yeah, meet us. Yeah, that's like meet us on the 9th green or the 9th hole at 9 p.m. or something nice.
We love you guys. Seriously, love you guys. We're gonna bounce the Bears. They did it. They're not who you thought they were. We're trying to figure out who they are now. And Ryan Poles is kind of defining his role as GM of the Chicago Bears. He goes out there right before free agency starts. Now, you're going to hear so many rumors this weekend. He goes out there, fuck the rumors. This is what we're going to do. And I want DJmoore. Listen, Shane, we said it back in December. You guys said it on Cars Keys. I said it to you. You got to come away with Brian Burns if you're going to 9 or DJmoore. That's a victory lap. They did it today. So my belief in polls right now is a thumbs up. I love the trade. I like where we are in the draft with the quarterbacks. I like the fact that you're saying to Justin Fields via this move, we believe in you. Go out there, big fella, and do your thing. Because you know what? We're going to get another big fella, a left tackle from Kansas City. And we're going to fucking put him on the left tackle. And we're going to protect your blind side. And we're going to do a hell of a lot more as we get ready for this offseason. That's me projecting. But I think the Bears, Shane, have to go out there and get themselves a big new left tackle for Justin Fields here.
I agree. There's no downside to it other than you're spending money, which you are flush with. And you just got your guy a weapon. Go get him another one.
Now get him some protection. It rhymes if there was a beat.
Do you think they swing?
Braxton's going to stay. He's going to work his ass off. And he's either going to bust his ass to be the starting right tackle or he's going to be the swing tackle. Because he's a 5th-round pick that needs to be stronger and has a lot of upside. But that's it.
If you get on if draft day comes, you're at 9 and you have Paris Johnson or Broderick Jones as your top guy by a pretty wide margin. In my book, Braxton Jones can't prevent you from making that move. Still, listen, you're trying to get Philadelphia's in the Super Bowl, and they're just throwing asset after asset after asset on the offensive line. You have Jason Kelce. They went out and drafted the kid from Alabama to Dickerson to be their center of the future. And then they ended up moving him to guard because Kelce came back. And guess what they did last year? They went out and drafted another center of the future in Cam Jurgens. If it's good enough for them to do it with the roster that they constructed, I would have no problem with going in to the 2023 season with Broderick Jones, Orlando Brown, and Braxton Jones as three massive options.
And you have, everyone forgets because they moved in the guard. You also have the move to put Tevin Jenkins at right tackle, and you get Orlando Brown at left. Now you fucking solidified these tackles, in my opinion. Now you're working in the middle. So now you can hit a guard in free agency and draft your young center from Michigan and get him in here. And all of a sudden you're cooking with fire. I mean, there is so much this team could do and turn this around. I'm super excited. We're going to be breaking
Ninos,
down.
I haven't heard you talk about the value of DJ Moore once in your breakdown, and that's what you're missing completely. You're talking about draft picks. We got DJ fucking Moore and a second-round draft pick thrown in there. Come on, man. You got to be better than that. DJ Moore is kind of important in this deal. Kind of important.
DJ Moore is worth a first-round pick for some teams. You know, it depends on where you're picking.
You don't think Carolina wanted him for CJ Stroud?
That's
Bulls
where
demanded it because he was in a position of power. Oh yeah, and he had a second round. He got a second round pick on top of it. So you gotta go against the picks that you got back. You can't defend your stance without talking about DJ Moore. Doesn't make any sense at all.
You can't ignore that you got a starting receiver that would have been the best receiver in free agency, and you got him at a discount rate.
Just showed you the massive discrepancy in point value.
Exactly.
Overall,
the trade is a win for the Bears.
Yeah.
The trade is a win for the Chicago Bears, and his number is actually lower. I thought.
Yeah,
that it's only going to be 17 million.
You were a plus 1,940 in the point value chart, but you're telling me that they didn't get enough. And those points right there are equal to the number 8 overall pick in the draft as what you got beyond a flush trade. So it's nonsense.
Listen, I don't need to defend somebody that made a strategic move prior to free agency where you set the board for your draft. And what I mean by that is you identify built talent that knows the game, and you put them out there and you build those lines, defensive line, and now you free yourself up to possibly move down again at 9 if you hit in free agency, or you're getting a blue chip football player at 9 and you're building on what you've done.
Ninos is quickly becoming an embarrassing poster in here. You're talking about 2 different trades that are 3 years apart. Or come on, man. It's just you're embarrassing yourself at this point. Be better, dude. Take the L. You're wrong. You're wrong. You can't add up 2 separate trades 3 years apart to try to prove your point, man. Doesn't work that way.
I think overall, it makes free agency like way better. You're not gonna have to like think about maybe get Justin a weapon or anything like that. You have to overpay for anyone at the position. You know you got your guy. You can just go focus on the trenches, like you said, basically. So it's like, I don't know, I feel a lot more secure than I did yesterday, I guess, with that.
I feel
totally agree. Listen, you got to. To me, it feels like there is a lot of smoke around Hargrave. And like I said, his age gives
be huge.
Pause. Gives me pause. But if you can get Hargrave and then have a guy in line with like Van Ness at number 9 that gives you that position versatility, that's bonkers. And I know Van Ness is tape perfect? No, but he's still young. And let's be honest, Iowa does some different things with their players.
They play a lot of base
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Listen, I love Van Ness.
Van Ness puts on 20 pounds, man. You're talking. He's got the ability.
I took him at 9 the other night.
Right. Yeah.
We didn't even take a picture of that, Caden. Got to get a picture of my first
screenshot it. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get that out there.
Yeah, we should.
Now that the Bears have done it, we're cooking with gas. This Sunday we'll be live. X's with the O's, breaking down DJmoore, the new Chicago Bear #1 wide receiver. Oh, by the way, we got Darnell Mooney coming back. Is he going to get paid? Claypool, Cole Kmet. Do they make a move for Dalton Schultz or another tight end in free agency? This is what we're going to be doing, breaking it down. Become a patron. We'll see you guys next week. We got Dieter Eisland jumping on Wednesday night, keeping it 100. And we're breaking down everything on the first night of free agency. We might have some other surprise guests, Shane, next week on Keeping It 100. We might have 2 episodes this weekend. Draft Mob and X's with the O's, breaking down free agents or trades only with the tape, because the tape never lies. We'll see you guys. Great job tonight, Caden. Thanks for jumping on and creating those graphics that you're going to see a lot of Caden. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys. Love you.
Guys.
Ninos, go have some pizza as well. I'm not eating pizza. I'm going to have a salad.
Later. Oh.